Good afternoon, everybody. It's Marianne Bailey with OnlineTechLessons.com and the HIP Senior Directory and Magazine. And today is Tech Tuesday. I love Tech Tuesday. It gives us the opportunity to talk about different things that are out there with technology that involves seniors, younger people as well. And today we are live with Ryan Lippe, who is going to be talking to us about shopping with Black Friday coming up. We want to make sure that everybody stays safe and they have some ideas as to what they should be looking for when they're shopping, what kind of warranties they should be paying attention to, if there's any available. Maybe Ryan's got some tips about, those pesky extended warranties. Are they worth it, and what to look forward to them too? I don't think I mentioned it to him, but hopefully he's got that information. So Ryan, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good. Happy Tech Tuesday.
Thank you. Thank you.
So glad to have you back with us.
Yeah, it's Tech Tuesday before Veterans Day this time.
That it is. Tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow.
You told me you had the day off. Congratulations.
Good. Thank you.
I heard you're coming to my neck of the woods this week as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be traveling to Yellow Springs and with my girlfriend and her mom, and we're going to be going out there to do a little bit of shopping, not Black Friday shopping, but we're going to go to some of the small shops that are open in Yellow Springs. And we're going to hopefully help the local economy a little bit. We're going to stay overnight at the old jailhouse,
Nice.
which is in walking distance to the little village of Yellow Springs. And we'll probably do some other things as well, maybe some nature walks, maybe some Young's Dairy, maybe something like that while we're in the Springfield metropolitan area.
Maybe some celebrity sighting with Dave Chappelle or Dave Letterman.
Maybe.
Dave, in that show, Dave said he was coming back. He put his head under the spring, said he was buying property. So we're counting on you, Dave. So let's get started. What do you want to talk about today? Let's talk about some Black Friday shopping and what people should do about that.
Well, with the advent of COVID and the fact that lives with us still, and probably more today than a couple months ago, a lot of the Black Friday shopping is going to be fairly limited, I would think, just in terms of consumers not wanting to go out and expose themselves potentially or expose others to COVID.
Especially with those numbers going up this week, right?
Yeah. Numbers have been going up week after, not every week consistently up, but it's been up and up and up. And now it's still very high in terms of what our statewide history is.
Right.
So I think we're going to be doing a lot of Cyber Monday shopping. Maybe we'll be doing it on Black Friday. Maybe we'll even be doing it on Thanksgiving this time. I have no idea.
I've already seen Black Friday sales starting. So
yeah.
It's all of November.
Yeah, so we may be doing some Black Friday shopping online more than ever before. And it seems like every year anyway, more people are going online and participating in Cyber Monday and doing things surrounding Black Friday and Thanksgiving that have to do with them at their device, not necessarily in a store. So I think the trend is going to continue, and we're going to see a lot of people doing that kind of shopping, which brings up certain precautions. For example, obviously, if you're going to a store, you want to check the store hours. You don't want to show up and expose yourself when they're not even open. So they might have limited hours. They might be closed. So just be careful. And just because something was open last year in 2019 has no bearing on whether it's open in 2020. This year,
that applies to everything all around.
Yeah, this year's special for a number of reasons. But so if you do shopping online, like I'm planning on doing, you only want to go to secure browsers if you plan on putting in any confidential personal information like your password, your credit card number, things like that. So you want to look for the lock in the address bar, or just make sure that it's HTTPS. The domain name should start with HTTPS. The S stands for secure. So make sure that is there before you do any kind of personal information transfer. Okay. And certainly you want to make sure not to do any of this on free public Wi-Fi. Even something as simple as
people realize that as much.
Yeah, I mean, even something as simple as checking your email does require a password, and that password could be compromised if the security is not up to par. And when you're not at home, that security is usually not in your hands. It's usually in the hands of the coffee shop or the airport or the library that you're in. Of course, you can use a virtual private network, a VPN, which does help a little bit, but still try to do things at home where you have a firewall, where you have encryption, if at all possible, especially when you're putting in those credit card numbers and passwords and things like that.
That's some great tips. Yeah. I think we always tell people, oh, you don't have to have internet, but you do have to think of that in mind when those people might be shopping online and giving out that personal information, especially like I said, with Black Friday coming up and Christmas shopping and whatnot.
Yeah, and what we've seen a lot of recently is phony websites and people selling things that are either too good to be true or for products that are very hard to get. So be especially cautious of something that is a very low price. Do your homework and check out that merchant with the Better Business Bureau. Check them out with the Ohio Attorney General's office, my office, to see if it is at least giving you the flags of being legitimate or a scam, and then decide from there whether it's worth trying to put in your personal information. And a credit card is still going to be your safest measurement of payment. Obviously, you don't want to pay in cash if things are questionable. You certainly don't want to pay with a check or a debit card. That credit card, if you have one, is going to give you the most consumer protection in terms of hopefully getting your money back if the deal doesn't go down like you want it to, or if it's a scam website. So
Make it
use
sound like
that
a drug
credit card to
deal.
your
Deal goes
advantage.
down.
Use that credit card to your advantage because that has the most consumer protections behind it.
What kind of things should they be looking for? I know that I've bought a couple of things off of maybe a link off Facebook or something, and it ended up being an okay product. It wasn't that great, but it like shipped out of China, and it took
Yeah.
weeks and weeks or months sometimes. So what would tell them that something like that is shipping out of China if they didn't know that kind of thing? What should they look for?
Look for a very, very late date in terms of delivery promises. If something's telling you that it's going to take a month to deliver, yes, that may be before Christmas, but it may be coming from another country. And that's why either they think the demand's so high that they're going to have to back order something, or maybe it's coming from a foreign country like China. A lot of times they are straightforward, telling you that the item is shipping from China. So look at all the fine print, try to research the merchant, try to figure out if they have any kind of shipping available within the United States. And if they don't, you know that by default it's coming from somewhere else. And if that's China, it may be a while before you get it. And a lot of times that factors into the price. It may be a low price, but you're sacrificing the element of getting speedy delivery if you want to pay that cheap price.
So
And
we're talking like a
maybe,
slow boat to China.
yeah, yeah.
From
And
China.
definitely read consumer reviews. I mean, if you're on eBay, look at the, a lot of times feedback isn't given as much attention as it used to be on eBay, but read the feedback, read whatever neutral or negative messages have transpired between the consumer and the website, using feedback to your advantage. Look at consumer reviews as best you can. Google the name of the website along with words like scam, words like complaint, and find out what the pluses and minuses are of a given website, especially if you haven't heard about it. I mean, websites that have not been around very long that you've never heard of may be questionable, or it may have just popped up for the purposes of trying to attract buyers into a scam. Certainly one thing is sure, you don't want to pay through a third-party gift card or a money order or a money transfer system like Western Union, because those are usually the currencies of scammers. So if somebody's really hammering down on you for a Google Play card and they're not the Google Play store, question it or just stop the conversation. If somebody wants an Amazon gift card and they're not Amazon, that's a big red flag. You don't want to pay.
Wait, but I want an Amazon gift card and I'm not Amazon.
You can get one as a gift.
Okay.
And you only want to use it at Amazon. You don't want to use it for some other party out there that's trying to talk you into buying a product on their unaffiliated website.
Sure.
Or, the grandparents scam. A lot of these scams are perpetrated with with money devised through Western Union, MoneyGram, the vanilla reloadable money cards. Those can be legitimate gifts to nieces, nephews, grandchildren, but don't use them to do business with unless it's that actual store that you're talking about.
Okay, so you made me think of something. Talking about eBay.
Yeah.
eBay's not nearly as much used, say, as it was in the 90s or 2000. A lot of us use Amazon or even Facebook Marketplace a lot more than, say, eBay. Even when you go on eBay, it just seems to be a lot of stuff out of China, like that and stuff. So I don't think people really use that anymore. But of course, I want to throw in my scheme that if you know anybody that is dealing with any of the products that you're looking for on a local basis and you can help the local economy, then by all means, please reach out to them and get their URL for their website and consider shopping locally first.
And even if you have an eBay type option or OfferUp or some of these other kind of websites that are out there, they might be getting a cut from whatever you're trying to buy from the local merchant. So, if you are big into buying local and helping the local economy, try directly and see if there's any movement on price. If you mention that you saw them on eBay or saw them on one of the other channels, they may lower the price for you or give you a discount code. I'm always out there for the consumer, so always look for your coupon codes and your discounts and your free shipping and things like that. But buying local, I think, is going to be a big trend this year.
I hope so. The local businesses definitely need that help, So what should they look for when it comes to warranties or special deals with that type of stuff?
Yeah, in terms of warranties, we can't make any decisions for consumers. We can't endorse any products or anything like that. But you'll have a manufacturer's warranty with many goods that you buy, especially electronics and things like that. Look and see what it covers. You certainly wouldn't want to buy a car if the warranty didn't cover the transmission or the engine, for example. So if there's notable gaps in the warranty, that should cause some concern. But when it comes to extended warranties, or oftentimes they're called warranties, but they're more like service contracts, just be careful. You sometimes get what you pay for. If something is going to go wrong with a product, it usually goes wrong fairly early in the process where it may be covered under the original warranty from the manufacturer. But just realize that those extended service contracts or warranties are an option and they're priced accordingly. But it's sort of risk and reward. If you're willing to take the risk, you don't have to pay the money, but you may be stuck with an item that doesn't last as long. But if you want to pay the extra money and get the peace of mind, those are there for you. Again, I would read product reviews and look at the warranty, whoever's guaranteeing the warranty, to make sure that you're getting your money's worth, or at least that you're getting some peace of mind for what you're purchasing and spending more money on.
Right. I once, I'll tell a story. I once bought a camera at a big box store that I will not mention, and that is still in business. And I knew that I was going to be taking this camera out for work. And so I wanted to make sure that I was extra protected with it, because at the time it was quite a bit of money. And now that technology has come down quite a bit, but at the time I was like, okay, I want to make sure this is covered. I'm going to have it in my hand in and out of the car during the day. I want to make sure it's covered. Well, the first day out with it, what did I do? I didn't have the wrist thing on my wrist, and I dropped the camera and I broke the mechanism that moves the lens in and out.
Oh, yeah.
And so it still kind of worked, but not exactly. And it was kind of a pain. So I had bought the extended warranty. I took it back to the store and I found out that, so when you buy a warranty, say of a refrigerator, and your refrigerator goes out of service 3 or 4 times, you would hope that they would come out those 3 or 4 times and fix your warrant your refrigerator. By then it might fall under the lemon law or stuff like that if that's available in your state and whatnot. But and keep that in mind. I want you to tell us whether we have lemon law or not. But the so I went back, whatever, and it turned out that the extended warranty that I had purchased only replaced my camera once for that cost.
Oh, okay.
And then if I bought so then for the second one, they were willing to sell me another extended warranty. It was like $75. So they were willing to send me another extended warranty for that camera. But if something happened, they'd replace it and we'd move forward with that type of option. But I always thought, extended warranties always, if it broke within the 3 years that you bought that warranty for, they would fix it as many times as it needed. And so it taught me right then and there to, if you are going to go with an extended warranty, to definitely find out whether it's replaceable, whether it's serviceable, or whether they're just going to, only fix it once or multiple times. There's so many questions asked. And sometimes if you're doing that online, it's hard to ask those. But these days, sometimes if you're in the stores, it's hard to find somebody that maybe has those answers as well.
Yeah, and reading the fine print, reading the terms and conditions. I know they're boring, but it's sort of like reading privacy policies. Gives you some peace of mind. You know what they're going to do and not do with your personal information. And so within within, it's kind of a contract within the extended warranty. It may have parameters that you may or may not feel comfortable with, or feel like you're getting more than your money's worth or less than your money's worth. And if you don't see it in print, ask the question and then ask where it is in print, so you have everything in writing. Because you certainly don't want to take a salesman's word for granted unless it's actually in writing. I've learned that a lot.
Sometimes they don't know it and they don't
Right.
know where to direct you. Sometimes you don't get that paperwork until after you've committed to it and paid for it. Then they slip it into your bag like, oh yeah, here's your extended warranty.
The one thing they should be giving you up front in the store, they may not hand it to you, but it may be on a poster board, it may be behind the register, somewhere it should talk about, if the store has a return policy, what that return policy is. And in Ohio, they don't need to have any specific return policy, but the fact is that if they have one, they need to tell you what it is, and it's not good enough for it to be on the back of a receipt. Why is that? Because you only see that after the transaction is over.
Right.
So it should be somewhere where a reasonable consumer would look and see it, and it should spell out what the return policy is. Now, the good news is for the holidays, sometimes, and with the economy, sometimes they're going to be revising the return policy to maybe be a little more generous. Especially since it's gift giving season and they realize a lot of people coming between now and Christmas are buying it for a specific holiday, and they may not reveal it to the gift getter until that day. So you may have a more relaxed return policy, which is good. You may have more relaxed terms and conditions for returning an item, which would be in the customer's favor, but just make sure it's in writing and that you and the store have a mutual understanding of what that policy is and how it's actually implemented.
Do we have a lemon law here?
Well, when I talk about lemon law, it's usually about one thing and one thing only, and that's new motor vehicles. The reason I say that is because the lemon law applies to cars within their first year or their first 18,000 miles, whichever comes first. So if you're lucky enough to be getting a car for Christmas, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? If you're lucky enough to be getting a car for Christmas, that lemon law will apply if it's a new vehicle, especially. But the lemon law is not just if you have a problem with the car, you get your money back. It's much more complicated than that. You do have to give the manufacturer, the dealership, an opportunity to fix the problem. And if it's a safety issue, it may not require to get, you may not be required to prove the problem over and over and over again. But if it's something like the CD player or something like that, you may have to give them ample opportunities to fix the issue before you apply the lemon law to the transaction and try to get your money back. And no, you don't get to keep the car. If they reverse the transaction based on the lemon law, you have to give the car up and then you get your money back. But only, only in few cases is the lemon law really a reality for consumers. A lot of times the manufacturer will fix the issue. A lot of times it may be different problems each time. So the lemon law sort of starts over. Depending on what the problem is. But if you have a dire safety issue, that you want to go into immediately, saving your records, making sure everything's documented, talking to the dealership, talking to the manufacturer, getting those things taken care of immediately, because we don't want anybody to drive down the road and lose a tire or their brakes or anything like that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess it's fair to say the more significant of the safety issue, the firmer you need to be on the manufacturer and the dealer to make sure you're applying the lemon law appropriately. Everything's documented, talking to the dealership.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Hopefully we're still on Facebook Live. Anyway, so we once bought a computer that the motherboard or the hard drive, something like that, went out like 3 times, and they told us, hey, if it goes out again, we'll cover it under our lemon law. And they actually gave us, it's a business that's not even in business anymore. I don't remember if it was like Circuit City or HH Greg or one of those, but they, it might've been Circuit City, and they turned around and they gave us a gift card for the cost of that computer, which was like 2 years old. And it was during that time when technology was growing really fast, and computers, you'd pay $1,300 for a computer. Now you'd pay, $500 for that same computer. And we got that $1,300, and we were able to buy a $500 computer that was screaming fast and everything else on top of that, and a bunch of software and stuff like that. So it doesn't hurt. These days, I know that if you've got a complaint and you call the store or you go into the store and you can't get anywhere with that, my biggest trick with that is, going on social media, go to their Twitter page, go to their Facebook page, or, use hashtags and post it on your page and start making a ruckus of stuff, because if you're in the right and you want a company to stand up for their stuff, the last thing they want is for their name to be dragged through the mud on social media. Especially right now with the cancel culture going on and everything else like that.
And the other thing you want to do is look at some of those different benefits that you have under your whatever credit card you've used. Is there price protection? Is there a warranty? Is there some kind of buyer confidence agreement that that you have with the credit card company for every transaction you buy with? And so you may be able to fall back on your credit card company's benefits if something doesn't work out, or you find a lower price or something like that. And just remember, you may have those benefits. And remember that if you use a credit card, you can always ask the credit card company, you can dispute the charge, you can do certain things if you're not happy with the item or if you never get the item. So again, look at all of your options. It's not always only with the merchant, but you're right. Social media is a great way to attract a merchant to your concern or your problem. And a lot of times they're very, very savvy when it comes to monitoring their social media. And they've invested time, they've invested money in using that technology, and they certainly want good reviews when it comes to user experiences. So look at your Facebook or look at your Twitter, look at all of the different channels that you have in terms of people paying notice to your problem or your complaint with an item.
Yeah, I once had an airbag issue going on with a car. Couldn't get I think it was my charger, couldn't get Dodge to acknowledge it even. And so I said, okay, I'll fix this. And I went on social media. It was when all those airbag recalls were going on.
Yeah.
And they just weren't acknowledging mine was one of them. And I'm like, well, that's funny because my airbag light's on. And so is, 500,000 other people in the world right now. And sure enough, they pulled me into the dealership and they fixed it for free. But I had to go to social media to get them to pay attention to it. So just keep that in mind when you're out there, and if you've got a faulty product or something and you just can't get it fixed somehow. I mean, it's, returning a TV or returning a computer or a tablet or something to Amazon or to the store or whatever is a pain, but it's much more of a pain when you've got like a vehicle with stuff and you just can't get that kind of stuff fixed, or big ticket items as well.
Yeah, and
So
don't be concerned about being embarrassed or asking too many questions. You can never ask too many questions, and sometimes they may grant you return shipping when they may not have it as a policy. Sometimes you may be able to take it to a local store that will do the processing for you if you've bought it on a website. So don't be ashamed about asking too many questions, especially if you do have a problem and you want it addressed. See if there's something you can work out to lower your obstacles and to make sure you get your money back, or make sure you get a replacement product as quickly as possible.
great tips. So Ryan, you had a sheet. Was there anything on that sheet that we haven't talked about?
Well, one thing to keep in mind, a lot of times with those very low prices come limited quantities. And so if they tell you there's limited quantities, or if they say they are not doing rain checks, don't expect a rain check. Now, if you're going to the store and you're buying shredded cheese for $3.49 and it's on sale for $2.99, a lot of times that's rain check eligible. But if you're going to get a computer for $99 and there's only 10 of them available, and it's 4:30 in the morning, and you have to be one of the first 15 people or 25 people in line, and you get there late, don't expect somebody to write you a rain check unless they're obliged to because of the different laws in the state. But there is an exception for rain checks when they do limit the quantities, or they tell you how many are available, or if they say rain checks aren't available. That's probably something they're going to be a stickler on. So just make sure you know the hours, make sure you know the quantities. If they tell you how many are going to be there, you'll have an idea of how early to show up or how early to log in. And check out exclusions and limitations as well. How many they have, what time they're available. Sometimes they are very, very intricate, where they put certain things on sale at certain times. So you do definitely want to map out your strategy if you do plan on Black Friday shopping, whether it's online or whether it's in the store, or a combination of both. And do the right thing. You want to wear a mask. You want to do everything if you're going out in public. But I have a feeling a lot of these sales, a lot of these good deals are going to be online these days.
Yeah, like I said, I think I started seeing some last week. So I think it's kind of like the entire month of November, but I'm sure that as we get closer to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, that those sales will increase and perhaps go from being, say, 30% off to being 70% off in some instances with some stuff. So
yeah, and I also wanted to note that we do sometimes, it seems like once or twice a Christmas season, holiday season, we see phony coupons go out, and it's something that's too good to be true. It's $100 off at Lowe's with no strings attached, and you didn't do anything for it. If you see one of those, question it. Don't expect to be able to use it. It's probably a scam. If you find a link like that, don't download it. Don't click it, because it may be bait to get you involved in malicious software. So you can certainly call the store or call the customer service department from a store. If it's an online merchant, tell them what you saw, tell them show them what the link that you're talking about, but don't click on strange links or download items you're not sure about, because that is a good recipe of getting malicious software on your device, and that could put your personal information or your money in jeopardy. We don't want anybody to feel the pain of having malicious software on their device. So if somebody's trying to get you to download something and it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Hey, the other thing with that, guys, is if you happen to come across a story or a thing like that, go to Snopes.com, Snopes.com, and search for that, because most of the time they'll have different scams and stuff, or different stories. If you hear, oh, this happened to so-and-so or whatever, or this is going on, go in there and check it out first to see if it's legit. They'll debunk stuff that is not true. And then please go in there and check for these things before you share stories on social media as well. Because a lot of times that's how false information gets spread around, that, something happened or whatever. And then we go on Snopes to find out, oh, it's just, it's not true. It's folklore or
I
whatever
think
the case may be.
everybody has one of those Facebook friends, or everybody's got one of those Twitter followers that's always too quick to jump the gun. And they post something that's dangerous, or they post something that's too good to be true. Don't be that person. Check it out before you start spreading what could be essentially merchant propaganda, like propaganda about some kind of deal that's just not true. So
Right.
don't be the person that spreads it. Be the person that questions it and that is a good skeptical buyer.
And then if you do see someone that's posting something like that, just send them a private message and say, hey, you might want to go to Snopes.com and check out that article you just posted, because it really, here's the link, and share that to them privately. Don't embarrass them out in public and call them out on it. Just to give them the chance to take it down themselves. Be nice, because we need more niceness in the world right now. But just definitely check stuff out, because if you share something and it's not true and you get everybody all riled up about it, it doesn't benefit anybody for that. So
Right.
And it comes to, when you're shopping, if you see, like Ryan said, if you see coupons out there or different stuff, a lot of times they'll say, oh, this big company, if I share this 25 million times, I'll get a free TV or whatever the case may be. That's not going to happen. When have you shared something and you've gotten something free in the mail because of it? It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And just be careful, be cautious out there. And, if you think you found a good deal, research it. Go on a search engine, type the deal in with the name of the merchant, see what other people say about it, and you may be able to verify that it's a scam or that it's too good to be true. Just do a little bit of research. Sitting for just a few minutes instead of jumping the gun can save you a lot of heartache.
And also watching out for your grandparents or your elderly neighbors. If they're on your social media stream, kind of keep an eye on their stream with them to see what they're doing, just to kind of make sure that they're not falling for some of the scams as well. And send them this video so they can know all these tips and tricks themselves.
Yes, and make sure, especially, not to put that information on free public Wi-Fi. Especially make sure that older folks in your life know not to go to the library to start ordering things with a credit card. Making sure their home has a firewall, make sure that their connection's encrypted, all that stuff. You may need to make sure that the older people in your life are protected that way, or else they don't do the shopping through Wi-Fi.
Well, Ryan, another question I get when it comes to that, and we've just got a few minutes left here, but when I get people all the time that want or don't want to put their banking information, say, on their phone or a tablet or something. But if they did have that banking information on their phone and they went to the library and they hooked up their phone to the library's free Wi-Fi at that point, is that putting their banking information that's already on their phone, even if they don't access it while they're at the library, is that putting them in danger?
I think there's some risk to that. I don't know everything about security, but I would be concerned about free public Wi-Fi and simply people tapping into your device. So sometimes with these scams, the sky is the limit in terms of the depths that they'll go to. And I would be a little concerned, because your cell phone signal is going to be more secure than your Wi-Fi that you're going to get at a library or something that's going to have encryption. So when in doubt, stay off the Wi-Fi.
You know what? Sometimes.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry. No. Finish your thought.
No, in terms of people tapping in and actually hacking your entire device, I would just be cautious. Just be safer safe than sorry.
You know what, though? I do know that sometimes people will take hotspots around and they'll rename it for where they're at. So they may rename it McDonald's, blah, 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 or library such and such and whatever. And you're actually tapping into their hotspot instead of the library's internet. So that's something else to be careful of when you're out there and you do have to tap into Wi-Fi. Make sure you ask the store, hey, and show them which one is yours.
Yes.
Make sure that they tell you, or they have a sign up or something. This is our Wi-Fi. This is even if it's password protected, sometimes you can see a store may have Wi-Fi. And if you ask them, hey, may I use your Wi-Fi? What is your password? Then that's adding a little bit more protection as well. But still be careful with that financial stuff, especially and purchasing or accessing any of that information on Wi-Fi.
Absolutely.
Anything left for us, Ryan?
Gosh, please check out our newsletter, our consumer advocate newsletter at ohioprotects.org or at ohioattorneygeneral.gov. We've got lots of articles. One of them is on Black Friday sales that we just recently published. That was published October 14th. Lots of other tips in there, though. And I will say it's sort of the tip of the iceberg in terms of what you need to know regarding consumer protection. But if you have questions, if you want to check up on a merchant, go to the Attorney General's office, see if we have any complaints, see how the companies address those complaints, go to the Better Business Bureau. They have report cards. Sometimes they're giving letter grades these days to businesses. So it can be as easy as going to the BBB in your part of the state of Ohio, or your part of your state, and getting that letter grade and finding out where they are doing well and where they're not doing quite well enough.
Kind of like how restaurants do that.
What's that?
Kind of like how restaurants do that. They get letter grades on their cleanliness and stuff like that.
Exactly. So if you don't want to get a roof from a company that gets an F in the Better Business Bureau, you're only going to find that out by going through the proper channels and finding what their letter grade is.
Okay.
So use all your resources. Use your search engine, use the Better Business Bureau, use the Ohio Attorney General's office, use all the Federal Trade Commission. Those are all tools in your arsenal as a consumer. And we want people to feel empowered this holiday season to do that research, to find out what's legitimate and what to stay away from.
All right. Make yourself aware.
Yes.
Absolutely. So Ryan, you're going to be back next Tuesday for Tech Tuesday again. We're going to do this series through the end of the year. Do you know what we're going to talk about next week yet?
Gosh, I'll have to.
I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry.
Well, we've got lots of other topics on the just in the Consumer Advocate newsletter. We'll think of something between now and then.
Okay, so next week is.
It's always about holiday shopping is sort of the theme of our Tech Tuesday together. So we'll continue that theme and we'll see if there's something else to explore.
And if you guys have any questions for Ryan, or you have any comments or thoughts about that, please put that in the comments below so that we can address that next week for you as well. And while you're at it, go to thehipsenior.com. In the articles section, you can check out all different kinds of articles that we've been uploading to the website as we're moving to a more online version of the Hip Senior magazine. And then also on thehipsenior.com/directory, where Ryan and I first met, you can search for businesses that have the heart to serve senior citizens. They've been personally vetted. We know that we have spoken to them and that they're legit. Please bookmark it. It's small right now, but it's growing every day. And so we hope that you'll keep checking back for when you need services, that you can go to the directory to check for things that you need to shop for as well.
Great. Well, it's been another good Tech Tuesday for us.
Absolutely. I appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to learning more next Tuesday on Tech Tuesday.
Great. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
All right, Ryan, I'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Marianne. Bye-bye.
Bye.